Hi and welcome to another POTA from the Donisthorpe Woodlands. Lots of bylaws to read here. Apparently I'm okay. Now what I've got, I'm in the car today because it's baking hot. You can't tell because it isn't sunny, but it is baking hot, and I'm going to stay out of the UV for reasons documented previously. Anyway, so just over the wall in the churchyard, just for speed, I've just pulled out the telescopic antenna, either end, dipole. Remember, you don't need any ground plane on this, everything. Instantly tunes 1.1 to 1 to 20 meters. To show you the setup, there you go, got an inline choke, and there what we have is the central connector and the telescopic antenna. So you just pull these straight out, tunes to 20, and then what I've done is use the ATU to bring it down to 40 meters. To show you more about this area, here we go, got a little robin. Look at that, how beautiful is that? Always friendly little things. If you're watching abroad, you go, that's not a robin. Well, it's a British robin. Anyway, so you've got a very poorly put together, well maintained footpath here. So you've got a very poorly maintained footpath here. And then what you have is a trail that takes you through all the way to a place called Measham. I must find out the significance of these knots, these ribbons around the posts. I'll have a bit of a Google in a sec. Not the best mobile signal here, but enough to get me spotted. And this direction up here, not too many cars, and it's a Sunday as well, which is lovely and quiet. Great bird song going on. And what we have here is the Ashby Wolds Heritage Trail. As I say, it takes you to Measham. There you go. And the Heritage Trail there that takes you to Castle Gresley and Conkers. And you can just see the entrance here. This used to all be round here, coal mined. And you just get on that path there and it takes you to a place I activated recently called Tarwell Woods. And that's the entrance to the car park. So all this area has been hugely gentrified, let's say, or prettied up by the planting of what we call the National Forest. So a lot of these trees are new, some of them are deciduous and just been pulled into it. And there we go. Let's have a look through there. If we zoom in now and show you some of the heritage, there they go. That's an old colliery wheel. It's just right there. So that's the heritage of this whole area. Okay, the radio front. There's the IC705 from the wonderful radio world. And we're sitting in the Tesla and people go, oh, don't you get loads of interference, Dave, off an EV, terrible interference. No. Anyway, so that's dealt with. No, you don't. Elon sends satellites into space for us amateurs, doesn't he? He's not going to cause loads of noise off a really well-made Tesla. I can't speak for other EVs, but did have a Nissan Leaf once, that was bloody awful, and did have a Peugeot 205 GTE, and that was slightly better. But this is way better. Anyway, so right, so we're on there, and then what I've got then is got the Zygo running today to conquer the bands. I tell you, that takes some abuse. I've probably spoken to you about it before, but that does, this linear takes some abuse. It takes some learning, but you know, if you need any more info, need a different video, let me know. Got the iPad, and this is not a brilliant situation. So I've just, even my work, so this is not a brilliant setup inside the car. So I've seen some people have some beautiful things that sit on the steering wheels, and I just got to get round to doing it. So we've got 4 in the logbook. So 4 in the logbook, sitting here, and that's basically it. Got my water in my Camelback, and I'll have a walk around in a minute and get some extra steps in, and that's it so far. Right, I know what you're thinking, because I'm thinking the same. With all these lovely trees around here, why the flipping heck haven't you got a long wire up again? Do you know the long wire is in the boot of the car? It really is. But what isn't in the boot of the car is the rope for chucking it up a tree with the weight at the end, because that's back in the garage at home. So, which is about 5, 6, 7 miles that way, and I'm not going to spend another time on the road, all that sort of stuff. So, no, bit of a mistake. This is in the boot, put it up, and it's working, but it's not right. It's too low to the ground, right? So I've got NVIS. So you're going to go, NVIS, are they in the charts? No, what NVIS are is your signals go, have a Google of it. Signals go, or even by a chat GPT, because all Google are going to try and do is spam you with adverts. So you're going to send it signal straight up and back down again, quite short range. So it's not really great for DX, even though, as I've said on other videos, especially on my TikTok channel, I have got great DX with this, by accident. I just need 10 in the log. So this is going to be too short range, but it'll do. But next time, write myself a list, stick to the list, and then double check it when I put stuff in the boot, so I don't forget that. All essential: rope for getting the long wire high up a tree. Right folks, thoughts from the car and FT8. Let's hit this head on. If you are saying FT8 isn't radio, tell me what is. Is it single sideband? Because once upon a time that was new and flunky. It was AM. You'd be doing DXing with AM and you'd be talking to people around the world. And then people come along and innovated SSB, single sideband, upper sideband or lower sideband. And then you'd go, oh, this is fantastic. I'm not using that, that's new. And all the different things that come after that. So FT8 is the next innovation. Let's face it, it was innovated by somebody who's got a Nobel laureate, who's done astrophysics. What an amazing person. But let me just tell you this. If you just stuck with AM or SSB and you were a purist and you said, I am not going to operate on anything other than these because it's not radio, because I'm not speaking to people and making up their signal strength by telling everybody 5 and 9. Have a look at Peter Walters' video on that one if you've not seen it, at Walters and Stanton. It's good points. That's what people do. And obviously, if you're a radio shop, you want everybody to give accurate radio signals, because what you want them to do is go, oh God, this isn't very good, is it? I must go into a radio shop and buy something far better, because my wet piece of string, the alternative is my wet string piece of string always gets 5 and 9, so why should I have anything other than my wet piece of string, let's say. But anyway, getting back to it, FT8's really good. So bands at the moment aren't the best, right? I keep going about they aren't the best in this solar cycle that we're on. And if you relied on SSB, you do what some people I know do, which is take out an antenna, which spend the best part of the day setting it up for a POTA, which takes longer than one of my POTA activations. And then what they then do is run up to 800 watts. Seriously, they do that. Loads of money they spend on batteries, fantastic setups. And they spend the best part of the day taking the thing down again, or they have to stay for several days just to do it. And that's what you have to do to get single sideband working at the moment in some instances. Now, you're going to prove me wrong, because you're going to say, I'll run my 25 watts through a wet piece of string and I've done really successful. Brilliant. You've got amazing timing, miles better sense of timing than me. So let's say I've got a window to do POTA, because I've got loads of other things going on in my life, like I'm sure you have. You come out, you get on the band that seems to be about the best at the time, according to the MUF. If you're not sure what maximum usual frequency is, MUF, have a Google, or even better, as I said before, ChatGPT even gives you links to great places to go to. But anyway, what I'm trying to tell you is, what you need to do is have a go at FT8. If you haven't had a go, just try it out. And if you use the SDR control app, if you've got an ICOM, you're fortunate enough to have an ICOM like me, use the SDR control app. Great, 50 quid. 50 quid seems like a lot of money. It's a brilliant investment. And Marcus, who runs it, you can send him emails, he comes back to help you, and the manual is self-explanatory anyway. It's flipping fantastic. Anyway, so you're going to do FT8 on SDR control app through an ICOM, and you're going to say, this is absolutely mega. It will blow your brain, because when the bands aren't great, you can still do your activation in your time slot and fill up those little awards on the POTA app website. Anyway, that's my version. And FT4, by the way, particularly in 20 meters, is wicked. That's my version of thinking on this. What's your version of thinking on this? Let me know, comments below. That's the POTA done. What am I standing next to here? Well, this is a fire stick. Don't worry, I'm not transmitting, I'm not subjecting myself to EMF and all those sorts of things. Yes, the fire stick is attached, because what I did is I swapped over and I worked 10 meters on the fire stick. Now, this is obviously targeted at the CB radio band. Brilliant piece of kit, as I've talked about before. Now I've got it. It's 1.3 to 1. 1.3 to 1, that's really good, without any tweaking whatsoever. So I was just using it on 10 meters to finish off. Using PSK Reporter, I did 2 very short activations on 10 meters. One using the V dipole, which you've seen previously on this, and as you can see, that is a full wave on 10 meters, a half wave on 20 meters. So I had to use a little bit of ATU tweaking using the Zyku, and I was getting out really well. But I got out even better when I attached the fire stick. This is not a scientific test in any way, but the logbook started to fill up much quicker. In fact, so quickly I had to get away. So sorry folks if I let you down, you're after me on 10 meters, but that fire stick on the boot is flipping fantastic. And I worked Ukraine, I worked Yugoslavia, I worked Poland, oh yeah, Portugal, all over. So we've done 20 metres, we've done 40 metres, no particular order, we've done 10 metres and 30 in the log, so I'm very happy with that. Not perfect in any way, but it just shows you just a couple of hours out of your time. It includes putting it together, taking it apart and operating in the meantime, and also having a little wander around it here. Hopefully you can hear the birdsong here, it's absolutely lovely, and we've had a good time. So hopefully you've enjoyed that. Remember, it's GB-3665 if you want to look this up on the POTA app, its location, and get out here. Not that far away as Hicks's Lodge, which I haven't yet activated, and that is another cracking site. Anyway, catch you later, 73s. You have an amazing time, either on the radio or listening to the radio. Bye now.